has your experience on the internship influenced how you'll approach your final year? Have you noticed that you're approaching things differently now since you went back?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just so ready to, I'm currently working on an assignment, and I'm just in that stage where I'm like, okay, I have, as soon as we got it was like, okay, plan, and then bit by bit you're just working at it and trying to, I think there's more of a strategic approach to it. You're trying to see what you can do better, and I think that you're also going at it from a different angle because you're using your experience and what you've learned, even just commercially, and then trying to put a spin on it in your assignment to make it that little bit more interesting. So I've definitely noticed that, yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Jim? I mean, you touched on it there before I interrupted you and hold on to the idea. So you mentioned that it changed your approach. How did that manifest itself?
So we had a lot of group work in final year. So then you were, and we also, so as well as having group work, we were working on a lot of client projects as well, like company projects. So I think the approach naturally changed in uni because we were going from working on more theoretical things to, companies were coming in and you were having to come up with the brief. You were have to come up with a strategy from scratch. And I think when you were at that in final year and it was all to play for, and you knew the final, and every mark was counted. I knew every mark on that course. Like I knew what I needed for the different things. I remember like you got to that stage, especially in second semester, where you were really aware of that. I think just role delegation, somebody fell into this part, and that was very different. Whereas before it was like all mock in.
Okay, so is that a little bit of the learning that comes from the internship then, that you sort of realise where in those sort of team environments, what your best position is, for want of a better word?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we haven't experienced any group work yet as such, maybe some class discussions in breakout rooms, and I think there's definitely maybe a further level of trust among your peers because they've went out and experienced maybe not, an exact replica to what you've experienced, but they have that similar knowledge and level of like professionalism that you can all bring to a coursework piece, or maybe if it's just a conversation that you're having in a tutorial. So I definitely noticed that everyone's very engaged and everyone's also applying the theory that we're learning in class straight to the tutorials and having that open dialogue, which is really interesting. Yeah.
I actually remember, like, practical example in final year, we were doing a project for a particular company and we were doing this digital marketing strategy, but we were a team of 4. One had Google Ads experience on placement, so we'd built out a whole part on that, but they were able to take that bit. Another person had like a lot of video marketing experience, they were able to take that bit. Then another person had a social media plan, so another person did that. And then we had like, the person that was able to piece it all together, the copywriter, the writer, came under that. So you found that you were almost able to take that, but that's where it is when you go into the workplace. Yeah. Everybody's a different role and you know exactly, I think there was an expectation, you knew what way to go about things. So instead of doing things the last minute, you realised that you needed to have things in advance so you could review them, and you had to just talk about things before you did them. So I think there was just that there was a lot more commercial awareness, but it was just quite funny the way we all had different rules on placement, and we were able to like merge it together in final year.
Sophie, what do you know now about the kind of organisation and job role that you want? You talked a little bit about it, that you think you'd be trying to secure after the graduation.
Yeah.